And we are back. We are back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the clubhouse where we think we know everything, but really, we don't know shit. But we are in the Chicago News Weekly studios. Clap. Because we weren't in the studio before. We started out just streaming at home. But now we are in the actual studio where we feel wanted and appreciated. So big shout to Chicago News Weekly. Appreciate y'all. So we have a lot of shows today. We got a lot to talk about. We will mention, though, the Cubs are in first place. And not by a little bit. Not by a little bit. They are in first place comfortably. Comfortable. That's crazy, right? We hope they can maintain that. The Sox, yeah, they in last place. What else is new, right? Always in last place. Nobody even watches the Sox that much anymore. People give away their Sox tickets. But what else do you expect? You know, from a first-year manager, a bunch of young guys that's running around, don't really know what they're doing. You kind of expect them to be in last place. But yeah, so and is Jerry Reinsdorf really going to give up some of that team? And why are we waiting so long for that? He thinks maybe he'll die before that happens. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. But why are we waiting so long until 2032? Why not just do it now? Get rid of the team, Jerry. Maybe they'll get better if you just let go. And the same thing with the Bulls. Maybe they'll get better if you just let go. And then we talk about the Sky, Chicago Sky. We want to root for women's basketball. We really do. We want to cheer for them. It's a little more exciting than men's basketball. We want to cheer for them. We really do. But our team is in second to last place? And I mean, we expect all these big things from Angel Reese and the other tall lady. Cordoza, that's her name. We're not getting much. We're not getting much excitement. So it's hard to get charged up for the Chicago Sky. But they're a Chicago team, so got to try to rock with them, right? So on today's show, we aren't going to talk much about those teams. We're going to talk about the Bears a bit. But for the most part, we're going to talk to our guest because he is the very first Chicago State University football coach. They've never had a football program. And they pegged him as the first coach. So he's got to be a special dude. And I think he is. I think he's going to do big things. And I can't wait to talk to him. So we got a lot of show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Kamish, do your thing. Let's go.
You are now rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where they think they know everything. But honestly, they don't know shit.
These summer league games and they tell you about these new up and coming coaches.
I think we should get rid of every motherfucking owner in Chicago.
Enzo and Caruso, both when they are on the court, are like your defensive generals.
But they need to get that strong safety who's not scared to hit somebody.
they really don't know shit.
And we are back. And we are going to get right into it and waste no time. So let me introduce my all-star team. But right now it's more or less an all-star because I don't have a team with me. I just have my guy, stat man who knows every single stat from every single team, basketball and football, 80s and 90s, and 2000s too. My man, JB.
Tell you what's happening, brother.
What up, JB? How you feel, bro?
Man, always a pleasure, my brother. Always a pleasure. Love to see you again. Happy Father's Day.
How was your Father's Day, man?
Man, it was great. I had a good dude with me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. But you was killing them on the pool table, wasn't you?
Man, you know, do a little something.
Little something, huh?
It is what it is, you know.
And the food, oh my God. Oh my God. That could be a whole nother podcast. But he had the smoked salmon, he had the mac and cheese, he had the steak, he had the scallops. Oh, Lord have mercy.
We'll do it again.
Woo.
Maybe we'll do it for Chicago Clubhouse Podcast and get some people to come on out, you know?
That would be great, man. But that was some good eating, man. But yeah, that was a good time. So what do you think about the Cubs in first place, man?
So we got to root for somebody now. Everybody knows I'm not a Cubs fan, right? But we got to root for somebody. And for me, the Chicago Cubs are what we wanted the Bulls to do, is what we wanted the Bears to do. We wanted the White Sox to do. Hire a name and let's get this ball rolling. Bulls, not so much. Bears have done that. So I'm excited to see if the Cubs can continue to, you know, push this, because I want to say it was 2015, the last time we had this type of excitement, you know, getting ready to go into the All-Star break. Cubs are on fire, handily in first place in that division. They have a MVP candidate.
Yeah.
I think he's right now
PCA.
I think he's third in MVP voting right now. Glad to see a young guy come in and just tear the cover off the ball. Pitching is good. Defense is good. Shout out to Craig Counsell. But that's what, you know, when the owner listens, shout out to Ricketts and the Ricketts family. When the owner listens to not only the players, but the fan base, we know what we want.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Jerry Reisdorf, take note.
Yes, please. Please. So we might have another team that might be coming up soon, a college football team.
Yes, very excited.
Namely Chicago State University. They've never had a football team before. But lo and behold, they decided, and we're going to find out why, they decided they wanted to have a football team, maybe to boost enrollment. But at any rate, they pegged a country boy from Norfolk, Virginia. Did I say that right? Norfolk? I don't know if they pronounce the L. We'll ask.
We'll ask him.
We'll ask.
But you know,
we'll ask him. But they pegged him. He did have a football career, and I gotta say it. He did have a stint with the Packers.
mm-hmm.
We're not gonna hold that against him, but we definitely gonna ask him about that.
He made it to the big show, so we're not gonna hold nothing against him.
He made it to the big show, but to be in that Packers uniform and now be in Chicago, that's kind of a controversy.
You know what? Let's not be hypocritical, because one of our greats at the end of his career did go for the Packers. But you know what? It was because of the money, not because of the love, and then he deserved to get paid. That's it. That's all.
Okay.
We're going to keep moving with that.
All right. Well, I'm going to be quiet about it. But he did start off in grammar school. He matriculated. You remember who said that? The coach from the Chiefs. I forgot his name. He said they matriculate down the field.
He won a championship too. What's going on around here? Hank Stram, I think.
Yeah, that's his name. So the coach, he matriculated through the pros, from grammar school through the pros in football. So you can kind of see why Chicago State University said, okay, this is our guy, because he's been through it, he's breathed it, he's lived it, and we are about to talk his ear off.
Let's do it.
And I cannot wait. Let's bring him in. Coach Bobby Rome. Clap, clap, clap. There he is. Yeah, Coach.
All right.
What's happening, Coach?
How you doing, man?
All right.
You doing,
All
sir?
right.
All right.
Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, we are honored by your presence. We appreciate you.
I'm honored.
You may not need that, but
I don't
check
need
us
that.
however you feel. Check
Okay.
us.
Okay. I see some
Look,
headsets. I'm ready to put them
You
on.
I'm about to say you already ready.
It might be a little,
That's right.
it might be a little louder if you put them on, but it's totally up to you.
Okay.
Whatever you feel comfortable with. And remember, this isn't like a pretentious interview. It's just some dudes sitting back having conversation, man.
For sure.
So don't even worry about it, man. But the first thing that I want to ask, and before we get into any Chicago State stuff, is your upbringing.
Okay.
So how did you you're a country boy from Norfolk? Or
Norfolk, Virginia. So I'm from the Hampton Roads area. It's a 757. We're same area as Michael Vick, Ronald Curry, Allen Iverson, Bruce Smith, Lawrence Taylor, Cam Chancellor. Like we had some dogs come from our area.
All the same names right
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
Definitely a pipeline.
Yeah, we got a big time pipeline. I played my high school football at Granby High School. I'm from the city. I know people said I'm actually from the inner city. You know what I mean? I was raised by both parents, came from a 2-parent household. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
House right back up to the hood. You understand what I'm saying? Had a great dad, had an outstanding father, outstanding mom. You know what I mean?
Love to hear that.
Yeah, put me on the right path. Make sure they kept me busy, and I'm here. You know what I mean? So it started off with played my high school football at Granby High School. The 4-year starter there at quarterback. A lot of people don't know.
Quarterback.
See,
Quarterback.
we didn't know. We
See,
couldn't find that.
see.
Come on, talk about it.
We'll talk. I got
Okay.
a little surprise about it in this quarterback story now. Okay. So I played quarterback at Granby High School. I was a 4-year starter. Started from my freshman year all the way up to my senior year. I'm one of the all-time leading passers in the area. Slightly behind. I think 7 yards behind Michael Vick.
Really?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm one of the area's all-time leading passers, one of the state all-time
You
leading
slaying
passers.
that thing.
Oh, for sure, man. And
I love to hear that now. Come
for
on.
sure, man. And I earned a scholarship to the University of North Carolina to play quarterback. And guess who I ran into in my quarterback room?
Who's that?
Ben Johnson.
No.
Yeah, me and
Get
Ben,
the
me and Ben Johnson are college teammates. We both played quarterback at the
wow.
I would have never known.
Yeah,
Man, what?
yeah.
And that would have been
That's 05 to 09.
because when you mentioned Ronald Curry,
Ronald Curry is actually Ronald Curry was there from
I'm about to hear a little ahead of you.
Yeah, a
slightly.
little bit ahead.
Okay.
So I actually went, man, look, I actually grew up, big time fan of Ronald Curry. So that's kind of where, why I played the quarterback position. I followed him. It was, I was a big time fan of his. I used to go to all his high school games, and kind of why I chose the University of North Carolina. They were giving black, and it wasn't necessarily because of him. It was because of the backup quarterback that it wasn't afraid to play while Ronald Curry was there, because the backup quarterback was just as good. And he was named Darren Durant. He was, my stature.
I think
right?
I remember him too.
Right,
He had a
yeah,
stint right
yeah,
after
yeah,
Ronald went to the Raiders, I think it was.
Yes,
Something
Ronald
like that.
Curry went to he got drafted to the Raiders, and Darren Durant was really, really good. I think Ben came on the back end when Darren was there, and I actually came in to Carolina. Darren was number 4. I came in when he graduated. I came in, took number 4, and moved into the quarterback position. That's why I stayed with number 4 in college. Now it's the same 4. Now it's the same 4 that's on Friday. Now Craig had our jersey on Friday. Yeah. The Carolina 4 jersey. Yeah, I laugh all the time, man, because
Look at the symmetry.
it's funny because I laugh to tell people, I'll say, y'all start joking my jersey. You know what I mean? Because it goes viral all the time as the worst, the worst movie outfit of all time or whatever. So You know, that 4 jersey, man, that's near and dear to my heart. You know what I mean? So I
Number 4, so I understand.
I wore that.
I tattooed on my body.
I wore that to Carolina. I wore that jersey at Carolina. You know what I mean? And you know, when I had it, I didn't even realize, you know, until after I graduated, like, yo, you know what? He got a Carolina 4 jersey. That's wow. You know, and I guess I kind of put it for 2 and no, that's pretty dope, man.
Hey, was Ben Johnson any good?
Yeah, man. Look, so Ben was a walk-on. I was a scholarship guy. Now, Ben was very talented, man. Like, he was talented. He could run a little bit. Ben had a strong, accurate arm, but he was so smart, man. He was so smart on the field and off the field. And he was a hard worker, and he was the type of guy, you know. I was a freshman, so a lot of things I didn't know a lot of signals and checks and stuff like that. Ben would, you know, he would literally ask me, like, hey, man, you want to go over these things during lunch and stuff like that? And, you know, stay in, like, and it was what's wild is Ben actually, you know, the quarterback coach that we had in the offensive coordinator we had when we was at Carolina, he moved on to Boston College. Ben moved on with him.
Gotcha.
You know, but Ben moved on with him, became a GA at Boston College. So I knew then, I said, man, Ben is about to go because Coach Trank, you know, he gave Nick Saban his first start, you know, in his defensive backfield at Michigan State. So I knew Ben was going to take off from there. But Ben was, man, he's so smart, man. And, you know, I'm not surprised by the things he's doing right now. And another thing, man, there was another NFL, for a former NFL head coach. He's currently the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was on that team as well, Arthur Smith. Yeah, so Arthur Smith used to be the Atlanta Falcons head coach. His father owns FedEx.
Standard Tennessee made Ryan Tannehill resurge in his career.
Yeah. So Arthur Smith was also, he was you know, he was on that second, third team with me and Ben and stuff. And you know, like I said, I'm blessed to see these guys doing wonderful things in the next level, man.
Coach Sims, who was the head man at that time? Because that's a lot of star power.
Yeah, for sure. So the head man at that time was John Bunning, and then we transitioned to Butch Davis.
Okay, when he came from Notre Dame.
Yeah, but when he came from
Notre Dame to Miami,
the Browns. He came for the Browns.
The
Browns. So he took the Browns. I think he took it to the playoffs or something like that. Yeah, he took it to the playoffs, and then went back to college football.
Because that was
he was at the University of North Carolina. I mean, he was at the University of Miami when they had.
He was at Miami first.
Yeah,
right?
They had Sean Taylor.
Yes,
you know, they had all those draft picks.
That's what it was. And then he took was that Tim Couch?
Yes,
Tim Couch,
right?
And then
took it to the playoffs, right?
Okay,
yeah, but I think he used.
Actually, Tim Couch might not have been
Doug Flutie. I think he used Doug Flutie. I think he brought in Doug Flutie.
Almost as bad as the Bears quarterbacks. It could have been Brian Hoyer. Who knows?
Who knows what it was? But you know, he did a great job there. He came in and kind of transitioned our program at University of North Carolina. And you know, I was very blessed. Coach Davis still my mentor to this day, man. When I was at my last stop at Florida Memorial University, Butch was across the street at St. Thomas. Yeah.
Good for baseball.
Yeah. We won the national. Well, they won the national championship in baseball, 2024.
Picture about what is Aubrey's last name? I follow a little bit of everything, and I know mom. Pitcher from Chicago Kenwood. Actually, his name is Aubrey.
Okay,
pitched on that team. One of the guys from the Cubs was a pitching coach.
Right.
Florida Memorial. Very, very, very good baseball school, man. And see how that just ties into Chicago. Like everything keep coming back to Chicago.
It seems like everything comes back to Chicago.
I'm still tripping on the Ben Johnson thing. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Football is a small world, man. And like I said, you know, me and Ben are both taking over programs here in Chicago. You know, he's taking over Chicago Bears, I'm taking over Chicago State.
Awesome.
And we're looking to do great things. I know I am.
So that's a great segue into my next question. Chicago State University.
Right.
So you have all the accolades, all the decorations. You, as I said earlier, you've matriculated through football, grammar school, high school, college. You did some coaching. So now you're at Chicago State. Right. You have to build a program from the ground up because they've never had a football team.
Correct.
So what is your plan? What is your plan for Chicago State?
Well, I'll say this: this isn't my first time building a program from scratch. You know, I think it was a much difficult, hard task to build they kind of convinced Vladimir Putin of American football. You know what I mean? So I started at Far East Federal University in Russia. I started their college football program.
Really?
Right. So this is
so you seriously had to convince him of American football.
Yeah, American. I had to convince him of American football.
Nobody over there that knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, like, exactly. So football is soccer.
Europe.
Yeah, football is soccer.
Was
football is soccer over there. So, you know.
All they know is bomb. Okay, forgive me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so football is like soccer over there. So, you know, but as far as starting the program at Chicago State, man, you know, it has to start on the south side of Chicago. You know what I mean? Like any good foundation's got to start with good people. You know what I mean? And it's got to start with the folks on the south side of Chicago and the folks, you know, taking ownership of this program from the beginning. You know, right now we're doing community engagement and doing a little fundraising. So we're out in the community, and you know, I'm dropping in. I'm trying to drop in, not necessarily in the schools because we're not recruiting yet, but I'm trying to be at all the community events. I'm trying to bring the community. I'm trying to make this a family thing. You know,
so you pounding the pavement.
Yeah, I'm gonna pound the pavement. I'm going to get I'm gonna recruit their babies. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to get their kids. I'm gonna get the kids that they care about. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get that nephew. I'm gonna go recruit their son. I'm gonna go recruit their boyfriend. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm gonna bring them to a nice situation like Chicago State, where you're gonna get an outstanding education and you're gonna get developed holistically from the top of your head down to the soles of your feet. Okay. And that's ultimately our plan, that we're gonna take those same young men. We're gonna play good football, by the way. That's gonna be a must, because that's what we do. We're gonna play outstanding football. But ultimately, we're gonna take these young men and pour these same young men back into the community with a college degree. And I think right there, I think everybody should want to be a part of that. You understand what I'm saying? Absolutely. So I don't think it's gonna be hard to build this program, because I think the South Side of Chicago in particular, and Chicago in general, needs this. You know, I think they absolutely need this. Like, I think a different light has to be shining on the South Side of Chicago that's been shined on for the past, I would say, 10 years. You know, I think a different light has to be shined on it. And
yes.
You know, from what I've seen, just being here 2 months, this is what I've seen. This is what Chicago's been. This is what I've seen. First of all, the people here, man, I mean, they are hardworking people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And if you want to be in a place where you see people that look like you, that get up and get it every single day, and whether they got to do it through public transportation, whether they got to do it through, they have their own cars, whether they got to do it through entrepreneurship or getting a college education, this is the place. You're talking about a place who produced one of the first hip hop billionaires, you know, and you're also talking about a place that produced the first African-American president in the United States. All that came from the South Side of Chicago. So we have to understand that we're special here. You know Absolutely. What I mean? Our university that's the, you know, the anchor of this community is special. You know, it's something special there. And I wanted to be a part of that. And I'm glad that they chose me to pioneer this situation and be the guy that kind of built this program, because, you know, I'm gonna shine the light. I'm gonna try my best to shine the light on Chicago State. I'm gonna try my best to shine the light on the South Side of Chicago, because I believe that Chicago was so much more than O-Block. I believe Chicago was so much more than the things that people have been saying about the community in general, because I have not seen that since I've been here. And like I said, you know, we're gonna play good football too. That's number one. We're gonna play good football, but like I said, most importantly, this is bigger than just having a solid football program. This is a community thing. And like I said, I'm just blessed. I'm honored, you know, to be in this position. And I just need a lot. I need a lot of like-minded individuals like myself to help me and join me on this journey.
I love the way that sounds. I love it. It sounds like that's your plan. That's what you want to do. And I remember in 2008, and I don't really want to get too political. Right, in 2008, Obama had a plan.
Right.
But there's so many different blockades. Mm-hmm. And in Chicago, it's a machine.
Right.
And politics, although we want to keep it out of sports. Politics has no place in sports. Mm-hmm. You're going to get hit with a lot of politics. So those are going to be the blockades. Right. How do you plan to handle that?
Man, well, I just tell you this, man. Look, I'm building a foundation, man. Like, God got me, man. You know what I mean? This is nothing short of a calling in the ministry. I was called here. Like I didn't just wake up and say I wanted to go. Like I was called to Chicago to build a football program here. You know, and God would not have brought me here if he didn't want me here to mentor these young men from this community. So you know, we're just gonna, but this is for football, you know, this is what this football team is gonna be built on. Like we're gonna worry about things that we can control. Absolutely. You know what I mean? We can't control what's going on outside, you know, a few blocks down the road. We can't control about what's going on, you know, on the news. We can't control what's going on, you know, at our cousin's house, his situation, and whatever he got going on. We got to come in and lock in for the time that we have to lock in for. And that's what I'm be telling my football guys. Because these young men come in with a lot of adversity too. Absolutely. You know, they got a lot of things going on. They are some of these young men are the men of their household, right? So there's a lot of things going on in their lives that, you know, I got to teach them. That's the age where I'm mentoring these young men that, hey, you got to go on to the next play. I ain't say forget about it. I said you got to go on to the next play because that's life. That's life. Like, hey, you know, things don't go the way we wanted. We all men here. You know, that happens every single day.
Absolutely.
You know, but, you know, we got to go on to the next play and we got to move on. So I'm pretty sure, you know, politics are going to play their part, but at the same time, we're not going to worry about those things because we're moved by a different thing. You know, we're moved by God. You know what I mean? And I'm not afraid to stand on that foundation. And I understand that, you know, hey, he sent me here for a reason. And like I said, my job here is to get the job done. Right. So, and with the help that I have with Dr. Carroll, you know, President Scott, you know, with them behind me, I mean, you know, I can't lose. You know, I feel like I can't lose, and you know, and like I said, we're gonna push this thing as far as it can go. Because the truth is, this is for Chicago. It's not just. I mean, we want it. I mean, it's gonna be based in the South Side of Chicago, but you know, this isn't an AAU team where we're bringing everybody from one area. No, we're gonna spread this thing across. We're looking for a competitive football team that's gonna compete on a national level. I'm not coming here just to start a football program. I want to win the NEC.
You're not kicking the can down the road.
I want to win the NEC.
Your next spot.
I want to win the NEC, and I know the urgency of coming in and putting a good product on the field right now.
See, for basketball, it's like Farley Dickinson.
That's the conference. The conference that we in, Northeastern Conference. Yeah. We have a
FCS, right?
Yeah, FCS for sure. So we're a Division I football program.
Absolutely.
You know, so we're off the gate. Like I said, we're gonna bring it. Outstanding coaches with unbelievable backgrounds that want to be a part of building this program here, that want to be a part. So we're not going to worry about things we can't control. The things we can't control is the product we put on the field every Saturday.
So, Coach, you got a couple questions that have been asked you in the chat, but we're going to address one. But one thing that stuck out, which you kind of answered half of it, I'm that single mother.
Right.
That's got the kid that plays at a prestigious school. Okay. Moderately recruited, if at all. Mm-hmm. What is the motivation when you go into her living room to get her to choose Chicago State over, not saying a lesser school in stature, just in existence? What is your pitch to get her to say, well, you know what? My son could play Division I football at Chicago State versus North Park or something like that.
Right. Well, so you're going to play Division I football.
First and foremost.
That's first and foremost. You come here to play Division I football.
Everybody can't say that.
Everybody can't say that. That's number one. Number two, you know, we're here to develop you. Not just on the football field, but off the football field as well. Like I have an urgency and a passion for developing young men between the ages of 18 and 22. Like that's what I was called here. That's what I feel like God called me here to do.
And that's why I like when you said holistically. That's not just I'm not breeding you for football.
No, I'm not just breeding you for football. I'm breeding you to be the next generation. Fathers, entrepreneurs, community leaders, politicians, doctors, lawyers, NFL. But that's what I'm breeding. Like I'm trying to create that because I know we can. You know, I'll tell you, I went to a flag football tournament this weekend, adult flag football tournament. It had and
where was it?
It was, Taylor Park. I believe it's Taylor Park, something like that.
What time did you go? I was there.
So I was out there about 4. I went out there about 4 o'clock. And the passion that these folks played the game with, man. The passion that they played the game with, man, because they family was on the sideline, their peoples was on the sideline believing in them. Like, man, there's no dynamic like that around the country, man. Like we got something special here, man. We just got to tap into it. So I would tell that young man, look, opportunities don't go where they go to other people.
There you go.
Here you go, an opportunity to be number one, be first, to be the first scholarship here at Chicago State, to be the first young man to knock that door down for the South Side, to knock that door down for the city of Chicago. I mean, we talking about the first student athlete in 104 years. Like, you're the first Division I, like the first. Like, there has not been another Division I program in the state of Illinois to start a football program in 104 years. And you're that talented, you're that one. Come play this game with somebody believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you.
And that is what needs to come into our neighborhoods.
Yep,
That
definitely.
drive, that motivation, and that confidence.
Yes.
No wavering.
Yes.
I'd be like, oh, thank you, coach. Here we go. Where do we sign? Because that's what we want. And it's funny that you mentioned about the flag football community, because football is just so big in Chicago.
Right.
From the little kids that do the pee-wee to there's this grand initiative to where youth flag is just taking off.
Right.
We've got people in the community that have gone off to colleges to coach women's flag football now.
Right. Right.
It's so much untapped talent and resources here. Now, I know you have to expand. You know, you're not a recruiting game.
Right,
You have to expand. But you got enough in Chicago
We do.
to cut up year one.
We do. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I wouldn't be here if I did.
Yeah.
Like, I truly believe that. I don't believe that we need to go outside of Chicago to get something that's already here. I don't believe that. But at the same time, you know, we got to spread the brand of the university across this country. And like I said, we're gonna use these young men to do that, though. Like, don't mistake that. We're gonna use these young men to do that. But we do have to spread the brand of Chicago State across the country. And the best way to do that is recruiting, showing up, being there. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, we're gonna be Chicago State. We're going to be Chicago State University, and we're going to be the South Side. You're going to feel that. You're going to feel that every time you see us kick the football off. You're going to feel that. We're going to be Chicago. We'll be the representative of Chicago.
And I appreciate that. The last time Chicago State had a winner, which they won a conference at that time, was when Craig Hodges was coaching. Chicago Bulls former legend. Craig Hodges was coaching at Chicago State. So knowing your background,
Right.
played in North Carolina, played, you know, at the school where the GOAT went, for everybody out there, where the GOAT went.
Both GOATs. Lawrence Taylor, too.
Come on now.
Michael Jordan and Lawrence
UNC.
Taylor. Both GOATs.
They call it North Carolina Blue, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't forget me.
For a reason.
Don't forget me and Ham Eat on the soccer field.
Come on now.
We breed them all.
That's what happens, right?
Y'all had all the
That's what happens, right?
Yeah, we breed them all at Carolina.
Mitch Trubisky too, right?
Come on.
See, here
There
you
you
go.
go.
Julius Peppers. Like, you know, we get them.
Yeah, Julius kind of did work for the Bears.
Yeah, he
We
did.
get them guys.
He
Hold
did.
on, little bro, Robert Quinn.
Robert
Robert Quinn.
Yes.
Come on.
Right behind.
That's my teammate. He's my teammate.
He really.
Yeah, I played with Rob.
I was
That was,
kind of
that's what I was
salty
saying.
when
I
the
remember that
Bears
North
let him
Carolina
go to
game.
Philly.
That
I was
a,
kind of salty.
Yeah, we had a good team.
with Ronald after that was a bowl team.
Yeah, Ronald Curry team was a bowl team, but I wasn't on his team. But I came in 05, so those guys left like 03, 04. That's when they got out of there. I came in like 05, so that kind of like on the back end when they came in. And, you know, we were bad for like the first two seasons, but then when Butch came in, man,
Right.
he turned that thing
Like
around
lightning, I remember.
like that.
Shani said the women's volleyball team just won.
Yeah, we did. We just won the
There you go.
conference. We did.
Oh wow!
And matter of fact, I'm glad you said that, T, because that's one of the questions we try to interface with our
Okay.
fans real quick. Miss Shani C says, "Good evening, gentlemen. What is your plan to build the program in the city? Kids first, then move out to the suburbs.
For sure.
How are you building a winning atmosphere within the locker room?" And she's not wrong, because the suburban schools will be like, "We'll pay for everything."
Right.
And they'll move out the suburbs because they're thinking they're getting a better education, or they're thinking they're getting away from this or that. But then they become a cog in the machine and get lost in the sauce sometimes. So I think that's a pretty valid question.
Well, I think first and foremost, I mean, we're going to build a winning culture first. You know what I mean? We're going to build a culture where young men have to make adult decisions at night. So we're going to recruit young men that can make adult decisions at night, meaning that if I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, that means that I got to go to bed at night.
There you go.
That means I got to make football a priority. All right. And then once you learn how to make something you love a priority, then everything else kind of falls in the line. You learn how to make everything else that's important to you then a priority. Then you learn how to, like I said, it's a process. It's a process. So it'll start from there. It'll start from there. Like everything they do matters. Everything we do matters. So when you see me come sit in your living room, it matters. Like, I'm not just recruiting your son, I'm recruiting the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what kind of support he has. I want to know.
I'm gonna be in that classroom too.
Yeah, and I want for sure. Look, I'm gonna tell you.
Come on now, you already
so
know.
we class check. I don't play no games. We class check. We do it all. You know what I mean? We do it all. But the thing is, I think it's about recruiting the right fit. Like recruiting the right fit for Chicago State. And the right fit for Chicago State are gonna be young men that can be disciplined, young men that can be obedient, and young men that can be submissive to authority and authority figures. And young men that can play with some grit. So we're gonna knock the heck out of some folks.
That's the word.
You understand what I'm saying? So
like that.
those are the type of young men I'm looking for, and there's certain qualities that I'm looking for. I'm not just looking for great football players, because the truth is, we're not there yet. We're a brand new program. So when we're establishing a culture and when we're establishing a situation where we want it to be sustainable for a long, long time, we're going to have to set the foundation. This foundation got to be sturdy.
You have to have foundational pieces.
It's got to be sturdy. And it's got to be sturdy. So that's going to happen with young men that we know that's coming to Chicago State to graduate. You understand? Like, that has a plan to graduate and do something with that Chicago State degree. Because the football part, we're going to take care of. Like, we're going to win football games. We're going to be competitive within our conference and on a national level. But at the same time, it's about building the right football program for Chicago State in that community. And we're going to keep that in the forefront of everything that we do. So we're going to so when we set the culture, a winning foundation, we're going to set it with that. It's going to be recruiting the right young men first. All right. Because I don't want to have to worry about what they're doing at night. I want to know that they're in their rooms getting ready for tomorrow. Just like your husband would do, just like your boyfriend would do, just like your son would do, if he was in the household with you. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we're getting these young men ready for life. We're using football as a tool to do that. So like I said, you got to be passionate about that.
Great answer.
And so, and like I said, I played this game. I've been in the same seats as them. And like I said, I evaluated this thing a million times, and I understand that this thing is a process. And it's literally, this is how a program is ran. Like, it's step by step, everything matters.
And something else that T alluded to, I'm sorry, T, real quick. You're not just coming from a great high school player. You're not just coming from a college player. Mm-hmm. You've been on the biggest stage as well.
Right.
And you can show the kids every answer to every question that they may have along their journey, if their journey turns out to be football.
100%. And the thing is, so as far as my professional career, I think I was blessed that I didn't become this guy that's stuck. You know what I mean? Because I think there's more guys that didn't stick than guys that stuck, right? That's why the league is only 1%, right?
Yeah, correct.
So I can relate more to the guys that didn't stick, but at the same time, I got to peep over the top and see what's going on up there. Right. So I think I got the best of both worlds from where I'm at. Now when I was going through that process and I wasn't sticking, man, you got to believe, man. I was like, man, God, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like why me? You know what I mean? But now, as I matured and got into the coaching and found my calling, I realized that it's more about, what I could pour into these young men. So me going through what I went through, being a fringe NFL player, guy that's been in and out, a guy that's been on the couch 11 o'clock at night and got a call from the Kansas City Chiefs to jump on the plane, to be at the airport by 5 o'clock in the morning, and you're in the airport is an hour away. So now you're trying to figure out, am I going to go to sleep?
You're going to get up and go to the airport.
Yeah, my flight's at 5 a.m. Am I going to go to sleep? Or am I going to just, tough it out and I'm going to have to work out on, with nothing. You know what I mean? And those are the little things that, I could speak to these young men about, you know what I mean? Always staying ready, understanding that, that call, I got, through my pro career, I know people think like these calls come every single day. They don't.
Right.
They don't. Like, it's a time where you don't hear nothing from nobody. And then all of a sudden the team come out of nowhere and call you. You got to be ready. So you got to be training the whole time. Like, you got to be training the whole time as if you knew they were going to call you. So, I can speak to those things for those young men. So, and say, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to stay ready. If you're going to be a professional football player, you got to be a professional even when you're not signed. So, it's kind of get the best of both worlds.
And those are the habits that I feel confident those are the habits that you will instill in these young men just in case. because, like you just stated, you never know when that call is going to come.
100%.
Sit, like you said, sitting on the couch playing the game, wondering how am I figuring out life at 23 years old?
Man, I would tell these young men, and I'm just being honest. You would be the silliest young man right now to be sitting between the Indianapolis Colts, the Chicago Bears, and the Cleveland Browns, all within an earshot away, and you're not staying ready, and you're Division I college football player, the only Division I college football player in that area.
That alone is gonna get a look.
Like, come on, man. Like stay ready.
Because think about what Coach is really saying.
Don't forget
There's
Green Bay
no
Packers either.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Hey, we're trying to get paid. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. Otherwise, we don't care for him. But
Yeah, I'm talking about
we gonna root, right? We gonna root.
The teams is out there.
But think about the power of what Coach just said. There is no Division I football program in our backyard. You have to literally either go to NIU,
That's right.
Northwestern,
That's right.
U of I, Illinois. There's nothing in your backyard. Now to the east, I mean, now technically Indiana University is not that far, but it's not in your backyard.
No, it's not.
That opportunity that hasn't come, to your point, in 104 years.
100%. So my next question is that responsibility should be solely on Chicago State and Coach Rome? No.
It's got to be
We got to take this bull by the horns.
platforms like us,
yeah,
filtering,
yeah,
helping, pushing.
100%.
Anytime you want to come on and, hey, Coach want to talk to the kids.
Absolutely.
100%.
Come to the school. Coach want to talk to the kids.
Yes.
Put that bug in there. Wait a minute, I can play D1 football? Yes.
Yes,
come
you
on.
can.
Yes.
You got a
You
great
can.
start, a great coach, and a great opportunity. You don't have the opportunity, and for those of us that played anywhere, high school, college, depending on the school coach, it might be 138 kids on the team,
Right.
and you might just be one with a jersey.
Right.
But to go to an institution where you are the first,
Right.
that means you're guaranteed a spot.
Yeah. And let's think about on a bigger network. Let's think of a bigger platform, right? You're potentially going to have 138 graduates.
True.
Now, Ben Johnson never played in the NFL.
Not that I can recall.
No.
Arthur Smith never played in the NFL.
No.
Joe Daly never played in the NFL.
But they coaching him.
Matt Baker never played in the NFL. Will Lauren never played in it. But all these guys are my teammates, and all these guys are coaching in the NFL.
Coach.
It's opportunity.
It's opportunity. And it's in the opportunity to network. Now, I can go back and say, you know what? I wish I would have done a better job at networking when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I really honed in on for my young men, because I did have an Arthur Smith that was, on my team, in my huddle, and his dad owned FedEx. You understand what I'm saying? So the networking potential that I'm not saying that I needed that relationship or whatnot, but the opportunity.
It's not bad to have.
No, it's not. But the potential network opportunity that you get from being on a football team of 138 potential college graduates. All these guys are going to go out here and have to do something in this world. They're going to make a mark. They're going to make a footprint on this world. And I'm going to make sure, I'm going to push them to do that. Now, they already have the foundation because the parents that we recruit these young men from have set that. They've set that foundation. I'm just here to continue that foundation and push them out, push them out to the world. And the footprint that these young men are going to make, your son is going to have a network of all these young men,
Right.
plus all the athletes that's at the school, plus the opportunity for all the young men all the people they come across at the institution, all the alumni. You got, strong alumni that went to Chicago State University. I believe Donda West was a professor there for
She was.
Yeah,
She
for
was.
30
She
years.
was.
Yes.
Those are things, to be proud of. You know what I mean?
Fred Evans that
Fred
we
Evans.
just had on the podcast. He went to Chicago
The,
State.
right.
Swimmer.
Historical significance
Yeah.
alone is going to be eye-opening and potentially door-opening with just the relationships that you still have.
Right. And what about just the community people? Like, there's a lot of special community, people that's doing amazing things in the community of Chicago
It is.
that graduated from Chicago State. I'm talking about the teachers.
It is.
I
work with them every day.
Absolutely. I'm talking about the teachers out there, man. The teachers, the librarians, the politicians, the people that graduated from Chicago State. I mean, you know, I feel good for them because now it's that time to wave that Cougar flag. You know, it's that time now
Come on, man.
to stand up for Cougar Nation. You know,
Absolutely.
and be proud of the institution that you graduated
And
from.
Coach, I just met you.
You
today.
get me fired up.
You getting me like I
You
want
get
to
me
try out. Like
fired
I
up.
feel like man, I feel the energy and to just have that vibe of, and that sense of culture, right?
Right.
To me, that goes a long way. And brother, I know you're gonna do good things,
Well, I really appreciate that.
and we will be there.
You
Thank
just answered my next question. I was going to ask you, how do you get your players to run through a brick wall for you?
He just
And
did it
you
with us.
just, I was ready. I was hyped up. So, how are you going to consistently
Mhm.
do that when you have all these blockades I was talking about?
Like consistently, like get them to run through a brick wall.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we're going when it's time for football. Like we're going to compartmentalize things, and that's what a man has to do. You know, adult man. You know, once you hit 18, you got to learn how to compartmentalize things. Hey, when it's time for football, it's going to be time for football. It's going to be time for us to lock in because, you know, when you get up, you become a man, adult. It's times where you got to put everything aside and got to lock in for family.
There you go.
You know, so
Absolutely.
I got to teach them with something they love right now. Right now, football is what we love. So we're going to use football as a tool to do that. So I don't think that's going to be a problem as far as consistently and keep driving that home. You know, once you keep taking football and keep putting it on the other, like, hey, life is on the other side of this coin, you know, and you keep bringing it back and forth. Everything you say about football, you keep showing the reflection of life in the mirror. You know, you keep showing these guys that reflection of life. I think, you know, they tend to buy in a lot more easier. You know, they tend to buy in a lot more.
The SEL practices are mirror moments. I
Right,
like that.
right.
You want something, brother?
Man, look,
Come on.
I'll tell you, everything matters. Everything matters. Everything matters.
A plan, a strategy, a goal.
100%.
Like,
So when you talk about that foundation, I want to ask you,
Right.
well, first let me say accountability
100%.
is like key to a lot of Chicago football fans.
Right.
And not to mention the Bears, but I'm going to mention the Bears anyway.
Okay.
They have not been held accountable
Mhm.
for years, actually,
Mhm.
since Lovie Smith, who
Right.
was a winning coach. by
I
the
like
way.
Lovey.
So I'm asking you,
Okay.
how important is accountability to you?
Accountability is right up at the top. I mean, including myself, I hold myself accountable. You know, I expect to be at a place 15. So I expect you to be there 15 minutes early. That's the attempt. Like we're going to attempt to be somewhere 15
you
minutes
on
early.
time, you late.
All the time. Yeah, you on time, you late.
Right.
You know, one of the most important meetings I ever had, I showed up early, and me and the guy got to go in there and get 30 minutes of free conversation in, and before the meeting even started, and that was life changing. So, you know, I just think just starts at top. It starts up top, you know, holding myself accountable, and then, you know, holding my coaches accountable, and then that kind of trickles down to the players itself. And like I said, when we say accountable, it's a standard in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to set the expectations, but we also have to manage those expectations. And, you know, we can't be moving the goalposts on those expectations. You know what I mean? We can't be moving the goalposts on those standards.
Can't wait for
The
that.
standard is the standard. That's what I tell my guys all the time. The standard is the standard. You know, the standard is the standard. And like I said, we're going to try to, and part of that standard is accountability. So, you know, it's a big part of what we do here.
So have you how long have you been in Chicago?
Man, I've been in Chicago about 2 months now, so I'm kind of in transitioning housing right now, and we're looking to buy a home here soon. So we've been all over in many different communities, you know, looking for a home, and for us, you know, it's about the right fit. You know, I got a small family, but at the same time, you know, my son has some needs and stuff like that we have to attend to, and you know, fit's going to be very important for us.
How old is your son?
So my son is 5. He's
Five.
about to be 6. So his name is Bobby as well. We call him B3. And I got
B3.
B3, yeah. And I got Queen Elizabeth Rome. So that's my daughter.
Okay.
And my oldest daughter, she's 20. She's working in the school, so she's gonna stay where she's at. Her birthday's today. Her name is Tanasia Rome.
Oh wow!
Happy birthday, Tanasia.
Yeah, her birthday's today, so that's my baby.
Awesome.
I'm proud of her, man. And like I said, you know, that's part of me saying, look, I've been there. I've been a teenage parent too. You know what I mean?
We can speak offline.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
There's some great communities in Chicago.
Oh,
that will service what
100%.
you need.
And, man,
I know he live in one, I live in other. So
Unbelievable communities in Chicago. Like I said, I've been so impressed. And that's been the hard thing. Like, which community do you live in? Because all of them been so welcoming. You know, any community I go to, I get the chance to meet the neighbors, and they come out and they introduce themselves. And then once I tell them, hey, my name's Coach Rome, they watch the news and they say, oh, Coach, man, please move over here, and like the community was so welcoming, and this I'm talking about I'm talking about Chatham, I'm talking about Beverly, I'm talking about, Roseland, everywhere I've been, Hyde Park, everywhere I've been, Bronzeville, like people have been very, very welcoming.
We still got to keep our head on swivel, though.
We
still got to keep our head on swivel.
That's anywhere.
That's anywhere. I just came from Miami. My family's still in Miami, and like I said, I was born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia. So, like I said, I get it, man. I get those type of politics as well. So, I mean, just roll with them.
So, how many different high schools have you seen around here?
Well, right now, because like I said, we're such in the infant stage of building this program, we're not even allowed to be out right now.
Oh, you weren't allowed to be out.
So when people say, well, he ain't been here yet, I ain't been nowhere yet.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been anywhere yet. So we're not right now, we're not in the part of the process yet where I can be out recruiting. Those things are sanctioned by the NCAA.
Absolutely,
guys.
right.
So, soon as we, cross those T's and dot those I's, we will be out in the community.
Have they told you about some of those schools?
They've told me all about them. But here's the thing: I'm gonna try to hit as many as I can. Like I said, I'm turning over every stone. Like I said, and the talent may not be at this particular school this year, right? But as long as they understand that somebody here is watching and believing them, they're gonna turn up. They're gonna turn up. So, like I said, I'm gonna try to hit as many schools as I can across Chicago. Now, I'm not just honing in on one particular school and that. I'm gonna try to hit as many as I can because everybody needs to be a part of this. Everybody needs an opportunity to be a part of this before we jump out into, the borders. Before you hit your, Indiana's, your Ohio's, and hit your Michigans and stuff like that. But for me, we got to take care of home first. And like I said, I want to get up in these high schools for sure. I want to meet these high school coaches because unlike any other place in this country, right? Chicago high school football coaches, from what I've noticed and the research I've done on these men, these guys are like fathers to these young men.
Absolutely. 100%.
So
I see it with my own eyes every day at my school.
Yeah, so the phone call ain't gonna work. The email's not gonna work.
You gotta be present.
I gotta be there. I gotta get up and I gotta show up. And I'm like I said, I'm ready for it, man. I'm gonna get in great shape. I'm ready to show up, man.
Wow. And that leads into my next question. Well, you kind of answered it already.
Right.
I was going to say that some of these parents, only some of these parents, are not necessarily present.
Right.
And they look for a father figure in their coaches or 100%. In their professors.
Right.
Are you ready to take that role on as well as the coach?
I've been doing that since I stepped into coaching. So that's been a part of, that's what kind of pulled me into coaching, that the mentorship. Like I said, that's 18 to 22. So that 18 to 22-year-old year, what are we developing these young men for? Life. But this is the last step before they go out there and propose to their wife. It's the last step before they go out there and go find real bills, go find that job, leave mama house. Those are the things, I'm getting them ready for that. I'm not afraid to have the tough conversations with these young men. Yeah, going back to mama ain't an option. Stuff is expensive out here, man. You too big, bro. You 6'6", 330, man. It's time for you to hit the road, big dog. But we're getting guys prepared for that. We're having those type of conversations where we're letting them know, hey, that ain't the move. That ain't the move. Eating off mama ain't the move no more. We're moving on. We're gonna be independent young men.
And that's definitely needed because, like you stated earlier, and I keep going back to it, cultivating the whole young man holistically, top to bottom.
Right.
And it's that type of cultivating that's needed here in Chicago, because when you said you compartmentalize and then something that you love or something that's important to you becomes a priority, you take a different drive towards it.
Bingo. Yes, sir.
And that, like I said, that is what needs to come into these living rooms more often than not just selling a dream because of the name on the logo or
Right.
the logo on the shirt. You know?
But the bigger picture in that though, once they learn how that feeling feels, they know how to take that feeling and put it into everything they do. Because they understand that great things come from when they get that, when they put all into something, they realize great things come out of that. And they're able to put that into their family, put that into being a father, put that into being, when they start mentoring their own community, their own family, their own, their churches and stuff like that, they get to put all that into that, and, so, it's a process, man. Like we're building this thing and it's a process. And like I said, I was glad I got to go through it first as a student athlete. And, part of me going through the process as a student athlete, I was thinking like, man, Coach Davis is an amazing coach and he's done some amazing things at the University of Miami and North Carolina and, everywhere he's been and, with the Dallas Cowboys and everything with Jimmy Johnson. I said, man, but what if he taught us how to be men? What if that was a part of, what if that was,
Different door
what if that was, more of at the forefront than just winning or getting to the NFL, because he showed guys who was considered undrafted guys, 0 stars, 1 stars, 2 stars. Hakeem Nicks was a 2-star before he got to Carolina. And Hakeem was the first round draft pick.
I was saying he was first round. Yeah, I didn't know he was a 2-star. I never knew that.
Hakeem played tight end his junior year.
that I remember.
Yeah, his junior year of high school. So he had to be a 2-star. You know what I mean? So,
because he had never played the position before,
right? 100% to a senior year, right? So he was a 2-star in high school and became a first round draft pick. So, I've seen these things. I've seen guys develop so I've seen Coach Davis develop guys from, 0 to hero. And I was thinking like, man, we put a little oomph on that. You know what I mean? Because our community needs it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, just imagine. So.
There was one more question in the chat, and shout out to Sonny C. She's been on fire. I'm just going to kind of sum it up a little bit.
Okay.
You may not be able to answer it right now because obviously it's early.
Right.
But how much of the transfer portal do you plan on using with your early recruiting? Which to me is a good question because for whatever reason, the transfer portal is always full.
Right, 100%.
Somebody's always not happy.
100%. Yeah. Well, I think for us, I think it'd be an unjust justice to the young men, to the potential freshmen that we're bringing in. If we don't bring in, some portal guys, and please believe, I'm going to bring y'all babies back home. The guys, the schools that took your kids and took them off out of Chicago and took them all over the country, and your child want to come back and develop right here at home. We want to bring those young men back here to our community, and develop them right here, so our kids can see these young men that played at these other schools and see how these young men are developing right here at home, and say, you know what, I could develop at home too as well. Like I said, our goal is to bring. We want to bring those guys back to Chicago.
Yeah, you bring some veteran presence.
Yeah, bring some veteran presence back to Chicago and help the young men and help them develop the young men within their community. And like I said, that teaches. Reach one, teach one.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I love that. I love that. Let's jump back to your career.
Okay.
When you were in Green Bay.
Okay.
Why he said it so low, right?
Yeah.
Why you in Green Bay?
Yeah.
Hey man, let's talk about your career when you was in the league at Green Bay. Okay. See the excitement, the fervor.
Yeah, I'm not.
I got it.
I'm not good. So, what position did they have?
So I played fullback, man. That position is not there anymore.
It doesn't
exist,
and that's like 3 teams.
Yeah, and that's what happened. That's what happened in my professional
and why do you think that is? They don't have fullback?
Because people don't run out of the I anymore. They don't use the I formation.
The
I formation. So quarterbacks are not going on the center. So what they're using now, they're using a lot more tight ends. So people are adding a lot more tight ends to their roster because those guys are a lot easier to find than your 6 foot. 200 and find somebody 6 foot, 240 pounds is athletic, it can move, and it's not afraid to run through somebody's face. It's hard. Like ask any high school coach out here, he'll tell you like, I don't have that on my roster. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to find that guy. But to find that guy that's 6'3", 240, that can line up at the end of the line of scrimmage and handle a DN because of his height and size and his girth. And then, but also you can put his big body that's 6'3". Now he's 6'3". He's wide. He's 240. That's a different shape than somebody that's 5'11", 6 feet, 240. You have to put a running back behind him, and somebody has to either go through this big body or run around it. I mean, it just felt like you can do so much more with tight ends on the field than the fullback. So fullback personnel wise says run. But when you bring the tight ends in, it kind of
duality to it. You don't know what's
right.
going on.
Right.
How did you feel about that, especially going from quarterback?
Yeah. So when I transitioning from quarterback to running back to fullback, that was something that was very tough. That was very tough. I'm not even gonna sit here and
I would imagine.
Yeah, that was tough.
Not
man.
just phically,
like
mentally.
the
game differently.
Yeah, sometimes you had to really pick me. You had to really go talk to yourself, man. Like I'm talking about, it was times I had to really go talk to myself. Like, hey, man, what you just ran through your face? You know what I mean?
Way more punishment as a fullback.
Oh man, you
You're
have no
the
idea.
battering ram.
You have no idea.
Exactly.
But I would say one thing. I mean, I'll tell you this, man. By the time once I learned the position and learned the physicality of the position, and I fell in love with being a bully. You know what I mean? I fell in love with being a bully. I fell in love with people understanding that I was the bully. Like, yeah,
you made it make sense for you.
You made it make sense to me. You got to go through me to get to him. You understand what I'm saying? You want it, but you got to run through me. So I want to make sure you see me on your scouting report every time. Like, hey, that guy right there, I gotta watch out for because he gonna knock my face mask off. So, so I had to learn that. Like I had to learn that type of, to play with that type of tenacity. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, I could never coach with that type of. I could never coach or do anything else with that type of mindset. Now, I'll be honest with you. You got to blank out. You got to completely be crazy to be a fool.
You got blind.
You got to know, Jerry. Listen, man.
Wow.
Dog. That's it. I was a dog. I'll eat your lunch.
Man, that's good.
So you just mentioned that a lot of coaches are moving towards 2 tight ends now.
Yeah, multiple tight end sets.
And that's a perfect segue for what we're about to talk about, the Bears.
Okay.
They just drafted another tight end. They had Cole Kmet. Now they drafted Colston Loveland from Michigan. Have you had a chance to watch him?
I have not had a chance to watch those guys, but I'm almost sure what those guys do. Like, think about it. When you put those guys, line them up on the line of scrimmage, it creates 4 new holes.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense has to be accounted for fits and stuff like that. So you can put an extra body, like put an extra tackle on the edge. Now, when you spread them guys out, they give problems because linebackers are not the same size as those guys when they're running those seams and stuff like that. So, I mean, tight ends are giving everybody problems, man. They're giving everybody problems.
So maybe that's the reason why we saw them choose tight end instead of maybe an offensive tackle or.
Well, I would say, I mean, don't answer that if you can't.
It just depends. I don't know.
No, you don't necessarily.
Because you might tip your hat to what you got going on.
The thing is, I really don't know what, I haven't looked at their program. Like, I'm so busy trying to build Chicago State. I really don't have an eye for what's going on. And it's wild. I know it's kind of wild. You're like, man, it's your teammate, man. Like, he's over there, he's the head coach of the Bears, but I don't know what they got going on over there.
I mean, of course, you would love to.
I would love to be able to
some insight,
but at the same time, man, it's like Chicago football is that relevant to me right now. Like it's here, it's here. I want to be like the Bears. I want our name to stick out like the Bears in this city.
And then network, open a pipeline.
Yeah,
you can come recruit right in this backyard.
It can happen. It can definitely happen. And whatever we can do, man, we will do that.
If you don't mind me asking this, Coach, because I know you guys don't start until 2026.
That's right.
But being in Chicago, we're used to great defense, great running game.
Okay.
However,
right,
we've been clamoring for a passing attack for a long time here in Chicago.
Okay.
Never had a 4,000-yard pass in the pros. Never had a 30. Yeah,
that's gonna change.
Never had a 30 touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
So change under the bend for sure.
We hope that a certain number 18 soon to switch back to 13.
Right.
We hope he can do it.
Right.
But if you can just elaborate a little bit, if you can't, I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
But philosophy, are you mirroring what's going on in the current game today, or are you still going to build foundation and then evolve with the talent that you have?
Right. It's basically on what we have, you know what I mean, talent wise. Now, philosophy wise, you know, I like to run an up tempo offense. I like to pound the rock. You know what I mean? I had one of the top offenses in the country the last 2 years in NAIA. You know, if you go check the numbers, we put them up. We put them up. You know, that we put points on the board. So we plan on doing the same in Chicago. You know what I mean? And for me, you better be in shape, because we're gonna be in shape. We're gonna be in outstanding shape, and we're gonna snap the ball. We're gonna run and we're gonna run through arm tackles. We're gonna snap the ball. We're gonna run through arm tackles, and guess what? You know, we're gonna throw off play action, take shots. We're gonna get the ball in playmakers' hands, and we're gonna get the ball to guys that can score touchdowns. You know, we're not gonna make this thing harder than what it got to be. We're gonna bring in a guy that can call the offense. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be, you know, somebody that has experience calling an offense. You know, it has a great reputation of and tradition of having a top offense in the country, because that's what I like to do. You know, I like to score. I like to score points. You know, and
I love that, Coach. Thank you for that.
I love to score points, and defensively, I like to fly around. We like to, you know, put them pads on guys. You know what I mean? And we like to get after the football. So
linebackers gonna eat. They're gonna hunt.
Man, we gonna hunt. We gonna hunt. That's what we do. You know, like I said, we gonna put them pads on guys, and we're gonna get after the football. What I mean by get after the football, and that's at every aspect, from the quarterback dropping back to pass. We're gonna get after the football. Like, we're getting after the football. And on every catch, every reception, we're gonna have 11 heads to the ball. We'll get after the football.
Remember the Titans, boy.
The ball. We want the ball.
I love it.
We want the ball. And on special teams, we're gonna be the most physical special teams out there. And we're gonna produce big plays.
I love it.
On all phases of special teams.
So when Deion was tasked with putting his coaching staff together, he went and got some dogs.
For sure.
Now, you threw some names at us, man. You threw some names at us, and you went to school with some dogs.
Oh, for sure.
You got some dogs in mind that you want to share with us?
I can't share with them. I can't share because these guys are, you know, currently on other people's staff.
Oh, okay.
You know, like I said, but they want to be a part of what we got going on in Chicago State.
We will be pleasantly surprised and equally happy.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
They want to be a part of building something from the ground up. You know, they want to be part of building something, especially one of the, you know, most relevant cities in the United States of America. Man.
Right.
This is it, man. This is it. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want to build their first Division I football program or be a help to that? Like I said, but I can't do it by myself. I need everybody. Coach Rome, I need everybody, guys. I need the whole community. I need everybody, all Chicago. Let's go. Let's do this thing, man.
And that's I love to hear that, because we will do our due diligence on the media side for you. This might be a good chance. Give us a call, get you some of these camps. If Rucker comes back, that's a good.
Rucker's coming back.
Rucker coming back. That's July.
Yeah,
that's in July.
So he played with Cincinnati Bengals. He has a football camp that he does every year.
Okay.
So we'll make sure that you have a part in that.
Yeah, please let me.
Yeah, we'll put you in it. Coming up also in July, a couple of weeks, Jaquan Brisker is doing a camp at the University of Chicago, high school, Woodlawn High School, where I work at. So I would love to get you out there just so you can come and be a fly on the wall and see what's going on. We'll do some media coverage, of course, to, you know, see what's going on. But just anything that we can do to help you, because like I said, it's one thing to be here to get to your next spot. It's another thing to have the passion to build and create a foundation, which I believe, and this is to everybody out there, parents, if you got a kid, this fringe, I truly believe this man, because what he has just given to us that he did not have to share was his plan, not about football, but about life for our kids.
Building young men.
Like, do you know how many people just take advantage of the kid and the family for whatever? And I'm not even talking about football.
Right.
This could be a warehouse job. This could be Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just to have that, like I said, that conviction, brother, like it just inspires me to want to help and be a part of it on a community base and just give, because like I said, I can see it in your eyes, the conviction to your voice. You are here for the right reasons and you're going to do great things. And hell, when can we finally have something positive to talk about in Chicago? You just brought it to it. Like,
come on with it now.
Because, you know, it's like, oh, somebody didn't do something they wasn't supposed to do last week. And it's like, I'm tired of hearing it. We turn the news on.
Well, like I said, we're starving for it. Chicago, I believe we're starving for it. So we're ready to deliver. So, like I said, we got a great team behind me. Dr. Carroll, my athletic director, President Scott, our president. Got a great team behind us. And
shout out to the team at Chicago State. As you're building your program, of course. I did have one more question because this is a personal question. Where are you guys gonna play? Is it like an option thing right now? Is it Park District based? Or?
Well, right now we're looking at all options. We're looking at all options. You know what? While we're fundraising, man, I'll tell you, man. If I had $1 for every time I was asked that question, man, I'd be able to build a stadium right on campus, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Because I know they got the baseball field, they got the basketball stadium. Like I know they got some amenities,
right?
But I'm thinking like,
we got 161 acres though.
It can happen.
It can definitely happen. That's what I'm saying. Like we got to do this, man. Like this is our time is now. Like our time is now. Like our time is now. Chicago. Like this is the time.
Think about that math. 161 acres. You can build a football field on that.
You think JB Fresco will come off some of that money?
I mean, we are state funded, right?
Yes, we are.
So it's a great possibility. Put it this way, I definitely would bring it to his attention.
Yes,
I'm just telling you, man. Like the time is now. Like you got the 95th Street project coming up. You got all these things coming.
Oh yeah, where they're going
coming to that
take
area,
the red line out.
But it's right there on campus. Like the time is now.
JB, if you're watching this podcast,
think about the economic
please,
growth that football can bring to that area on top of everything they're adding to that particular area. Right? Come on, guys. Like the time is now.
It is.
It just makes sense. For all parties invested, it makes sense.
100%.
So before we let you go, man, we always talk a little bit about Chicago food. Chicago is like the mecca for great food.
We gotta take you to some places, Coach. Because
I gotta take me to some places, man. Take me to some
we
places.
want you straight now.
Now I'm good. I mean, everywhere I go, man, the food's been amazing, and that's what I'm saying. I gotta get on the track, man. Like I gotta get on the track, man. That's I'm telling you. That's how we get you. That's how we get you. I've been here too much, man. I'm like gracious.
So have you been downtown?
I have been downtown.
So you've had some wonderful steak.
I had Chicago. I've been to Chicago State.
Chicago Cut.
Yep,
I've been to Chicago Cut.
Okay.
That was an amazing experience.
You've been to Gibson's.
Been to Gibbs. I have not been to Gibson, but I've been to Chicago Cuts. Now, here's the thing. My wife will be here in a little bit.
Okay.
I can't go to all these places by myself.
Okay.
Y'all know how that is, you go to some,
Right.
Yeah, so, I want to say
Why you go there without me?
Yeah, so I want to say some opportunities for her to come.
Right.
Well, some places will be good enough to go back. Like Chicago Cut, shout out to Chef Flom.
Yeah,
like
for
that's
sure.
just an institution right there. Like
Man, it was awesome. It was awesome. Chicago Cut was awesome. It was awesome. I think Mayor Johnson was there as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Mayor Johnson was there, and
have you had a chance to correspond with him and meet him?
Oh yeah,
okay, great.
I met
Brandon.
met him and been around Mayor Johnson, multiple times.
Great. Okay.
Multiple times. Like I said, we've sat down with the Bears.
I know he's definitely supportive of what's going on.
Oh, 100%. He's been very supportive, and he wants to see us do great things. And like I said, he said he's going to help out any way he can.
Love it.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're shaking the right hands. We're shaking the right hands. And like I said, I want to get out in this community, and I want to meet the people that's going to make this thing happen. That's the people in the community. So I want to get out there and shake their hands. I want to, be a part of what they got. I want to be a part of their community. I just don't want to be, somebody that's eating off their community. I want to be a part of their community. My kids are gonna go to their school. I'm gonna show up to their events. I'm gonna be at the community days. All that. I want to be a part of what we got going on here.
Okay. Well, like I said, we're a small operation, but we'll do whatever it is that you need us to do. If you
small, but we know a lot of people.
And you want us to come help out with the camp, or
Right.
run the kids through some drills.
Okay.
We can do that. Whatever you need, Coach, because we want to see you shine too.
Well, I appreciate that.
We want to see you shine.
I appreciate it.
And we definitely appreciate you taking this time to holler at us.
Thank you.
And even though you can't talk about certain things, you still came and hollered at us, man. So I really
think he
appreciate
talked about a lot.
Yeah, he talks about a lot of things
within reason and everything.
For sure.
Yeah. So, where can if let's just say some kids want to get in contact with you,
Right.
how do they do that?
Well, my email's online. Just email me. I'm also on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm in the action, guys. So I'm on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter. I usually respond. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I think I'm on Snap. No, I'm not on Snapchat. TikTok, I might be up there. I don't know.
Well, you said the big two, so
Twitter, yeah, okay, all right. I guess it's so many of these social stuff. I'm on Twitter. I know how to use that. I know how to work Facebook and Instagram. So that's where I'm at. Hit me on there, and I'll hit you guys back. And like I said, I'm in all the comments on YouTube, spreading Chicago State love as well. So I'm
2026, y'all. We looking, we ready.
I'm telling everybody about Chicago State. I want everybody to see it. So,
one last thing.
Yes, sir.
Do you like house music?
Do I like house music? No.
You don't like house music.
I like lyrical driven hip hop. I like gospel music.
Okay.
I like R&B, old school. I'm all over the place, man.
The reason I asked that is because the Chosen Few picnic is coming up, and we're gonna have a few tents. And I was gonna invite you out there. You're still invited.
I could be a part of the community.
Oh, it's gonna be some great barbecue.
I'm there there.
Oh, definitely great.
I'm there. I'll be bobbing my house with house music, eating barbecue.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be plenty of drinks flowing, good barbecue. JB is gonna be on the grill, and JB for Father's Day, man, he had a spread. He had the steak, the scallops, the mac and cheese, the smoked salmon. Man, JB put it down.
That sounds amazing.
Be my honor, coach.
Man, I will. Man, look, next time you get on that grill, you let me know. I'm there.
And we'll take you to Harold's Chicken.
Oh yeah.
Take you to what's the
he got to hit Giordano's first of all.
Oh, Giordano's pizza.
Because I don't know if pizza has become a main
part
of your menu because Chicago is known for its pizza.
It is known for pizza. I gotta hit the right spots.
We'll take you to get the hood pizza, Italian fiesta. We'll take you to do all that, Coach.
Please
all
do.
of it.
Like I said, I want to be in the mix.
Oh yeah, and then like I said, just being around, being present, and like I said, just putting in the sweat equity now
for sure
for next year, because a lot of people don't realize like those juniors and seniors that are coming into those classes now. Mm-hmm. This is your opportunity. This is your shot. This is your time.
Right. And those juniors, sophomores, juniors, they're gonna be pushing. They're gonna be pushing, and they see that now there's a light at the end of that tunnel. So Chicago football is about to take off.
I can't wait.
Man, I'm excited. We're gonna be there.
I can't wait to see. Yeah, Coach. I'm gonna be cheering you on with my Chicago State University towel, waving it, all of that. I can't wait.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We really appreciate you coming and taking the time for us, man. And knock yourself out with the drinks, food, whatever you need, Coach.
All right. I appreciate it, man.
All right.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Talk to you soon, Coach.
All right, Coach. Appreciate it,
man, for sure.
Man, he got me charged up, ready to run through a wall, man.
And if you don't, I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts, and you will run a mile.
Remember the Titans, baby. But man, I can't wait for this football program. He got me charged up to see how it's gonna develop and how he's gonna develop these young men. What I like is that he said he's not gonna just try to develop into one-dimensional football players, but he wants to develop young men.
And that's the pitch versus the responsibility. We've all played. You got that one coach that says what you think you want to hear, or that one coach that's trying to get your parents to sign off on you being with them. But then you get that coach that's like, nah, you know what? Even if you don't sign with me, I'm still here to try to build a person, a complete person.
Right.
The way the world is now, we need more of that. And I think you would also see a better product on the field when you have a person that's complete, because too many times now we look at individuals that's, football or old school, like that's the way out. Got to buy mama a house. Got to get us out the hood and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But from what he's preaching, yeah, we still gonna get you out the hood, even if it's not through football. It can be aspects through football, which was your foundation and your discipline, to open up other things. This is not Alabama. This is not Auburn. You know what I'm saying? This is not Colorado or Coach Prime.
Right.
This is grassroots at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love what he's promoting.
I can't wait. So let's talk about these Bears for a second, man.
Do we have to?
So OTAs is done. Have you heard anything about who stuck out or who made a great impression? I read a couple things.
I heard some propaganda. Now, there are some things. I'm gonna ask you, piggyback.
Okay.
What you heard about Colston Loveland, because that's where I really want to put my emphasis on right now. The great things. But you know what I didn't hear?
What's that?
I didn't hear how he and Cole Kmet really worked together.
I didn't hear that either.
And
I didn't hear
was that just a tad bit concerning to
That's
you?
weird.
I would think it's weird, right? Because I'm like, if anything, one at this point is a veteran, one has had moderate success, and one should be more of a mentor. Like, how are we doing this together, especially in a 12 personnel offense, which Ben Johnson does run at times. I've heard nothing about Cole Kmet.
And I expected to hear more about running more two tight end sets. I expected to hear more about that, but I did not. I hear about Colston Loveland's individual accolades.
Correct.
Well, what about Cole Kmet? So does that mean that he's the odd man out?
I'm leaning right towards that way, because now when you're talking about bringing a more dynamic brand of football and you draft a Colston Loveland, that is like saying that Colston Loveland is a Corvette and Cole Kmet is like a Camry. Right? It's like, the Camry is reliable, it's gonna get you from A to B, but it ain't flashy. You know? Now you bring in this 0 to 60 guy, and you forget about the old reliable that's been there. Although he was not targeted because of a lot of things people want to talk about Caleb last year and how he was impacted by coaching. Cole Kmet took a big dip by coaching. Hell, how many games have you and I spoke about when Cole Kmet wasn't even targeted last year?
Yeah.
Can't all be on the player, right?
Right.
So moving into a more friendly system that I would think, and not hearing, even forget about hearing him picking up the offense and being dynamic or anything. Just hearing his name, like, oh, Cole Kmet, he messed up today. Like, just hearing his name, period, right? That's concerning to me. Now, when we get into minicamp, I expect, when they put pads on it for the first time, I expect to hear a lot more, because now you're digging into that that playbook a lot more. Mm-hmm. But to not hear about him now, I mean, hell, we heard about people that we didn't even know they got picked up on the team in OTAs. We heard good and bad for David Monungai. We heard about Kyle Monungai. We heard about Ozzie. We heard about our friend from Yale, Kyron. Amagaji.
Yeah, that.
We heard about him too.
Yeah. But
to not hear about Cole was a little bit concerning.
Yeah, a little bit. I think I saw
you did.
We got another all-star who finally made an appearance, but to his defense, he was closing on his house. But like I said, he's here. That's all that matters. He might have the foulest mouth in the city too. My man, Foul Mouth C.
Next time you hear grown folks talking, shut the fuck up here.
Check your mic.
We hear you. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Congratulations, sir.
I appreciate it, sir. Yes, sir.
Congrats.
Feel very good.
Got one of them like this. Look.
Man, man, anybody out there, it's their first time, dude. It is so stressful, so long.
I just did it in February, man. I'm still picking out grades.
It make you want to have a drink, and I don't even drink.
I was just about to say, it's a James said.
Yeah, I saw it. I was over there looking at it too.
Like,
so you came in at the right time, Chris, because I know you have some things to say about Cole Kmet. We were talking about how we don't really hear too much about Cole Kmet, but we hear more about Colston and Loveland and his individual accolades more than, okay, so now we got 2 tight ends. We're gonna run 2 tight end sets, or we're gonna run more 2 tight end sets. We don't hear a lot of that. We just hear a lot about Colston. So does that mean maybe Cole is the high man now?
Nah, I think just right now, by Colston being hurt and nobody's really seeing him, it's sort of like the intrigue, what it is that he can and cannot do, because nobody's seen him yet.
Well, we saw him early on when rookie. We saw him early on to know that what his body of work was, but it wasn't anything like. It was more speculatory.
He hasn't been able to practice.
Right,
Yet.
it
He
was
hasn't
more
been clear to
speculatory.
practice. So everything that everybody's seeing or hearing about right now is based off of what he did in college.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that it's time for Cole Kmet to step up, even though coaching hasn't been the best, but it's still time for him to step up. I mean, he had a career year with Justin Fields, and then last year, about the coaching being terrible, going through 3 different offensive coordinators. If we can sit up there and come up and say that, well, Caleb Williams didn't play up to his potential because of the 3 different.
You have to give the same grace.
You got to give the same grace to Cole Kmet as well. Everybody know I like Big Stiffy. I call him Big Stiffy. I don't like him. I think there's some things that he needs to work on. Like I said, I always thought coming out of college, Cole Kmet was a great tight end. He knows how to get open in zone. And man to man, I saw when they played Georgia against faster linebackers, guys that's probably faster, more athletic, he tends to struggle. Still the same thing in the NFL. He still tends to struggle when it comes down to getting open in man-to-man coverage. But as far as zone, he's a good end zone target because of his big body, his long arm length. His hands have improved. His blocking seems like it's going to drop from his rookie year until now. It seems like it's going to drop.
As a matter of fact, I think his rating was the lowest of his career. This year was the lowest block win ratio that he had since the 4 years he's been with us.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot going on. I'm just excited to see what Ben Johnson. Actually, I had a dream last night, and we lost to the Packers 7-7. Yeah, 7-18. I said, oh God. I said, let me go play the lottery. Maybe that's some lottery numbers or something that come out. Yeah, 7-1-8.
That's a horrible dream.
Yeah, it was terrible. I woke up, I said, how did we just beat them? And we scored 7 points, and we got Caleb Williams. We got all these offensive weapons. We got the offensive guru, Ben Johnson, and we just scored 7 points. So thank God that was a nightmare. But yeah, I'm interested to see what Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. I'm interested to see what they both gonna do.
Do you realize that tight ends usually have these really cool names?
Nah, I ain't
really. Like the tight end in Kansas City. What's his name?
Travis Kelce.
Travis.
Is that
it's like a unique
Shannon Sharp?
Like
was that a Tony
unique,
Gonzalez?
A unique name. It's not like a John Johnson or Mike Wilson. Just a boring name. They usually have these really unique names.
Yeah, like Loveland. Cole Kmet. What's the guy name? God, I can't believe it's skipping me.
Mercedes Lewis.
Mercedes Lewis. You got what's his name over there in San Francisco?
George Kittle.
But the Kittle is kind of unique.
Yes, unique.
Because when I hear Kittle, I think of Ron Kittle, White Sox.
But the name is still kind of unique.
Maybe some
the George is it?
No, the George isn't, but Kittle is.
Kittle is, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weirdo. So
I've never looked at not to call you weird or anything, but I've just never looked at it like that because it's like it's just his name.
I mean, when you look at them, they got a couple unique names, like even like Ron Gronkowski, they call him Gronk. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Maybe you might be on to something. I mean, it's not like Shamunga, blah blah blah, Bianca Batuka, and then they call him Tim.
Yeah.
There was a player in the league that had a name similar to what you just said.
That's the player I'm talking about. From Michigan, running back.
He played who?
He's a running back from Michigan that played for the Carolina Panthers.
Tim Bianca Batuka.
Prince
Amukamara.
I might have him on the podcast.
I would love to.
Pisa Tia Samoa.
Piece of TSC a Samoan.
And who was the tight end that never stuck? He came over with Peppers and
Talking about with Mike Martz.
yeah.
You talking? It started with an M.
Won a Super Bowl with the Rams.
Melly.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It started with an M. It was like Monta.
Brandon Maluyuna.
Yeah.
Also Samoan, I believe.
Yeah, it's a lot of them dudes.
Foul, I just got called a hater.
Who called you a hater, man?
Bears down. I wanted to say, because before you came in, I said Cole Kmet has been like that Toyota Camry. Not flashy, reliable, right? Hell, they last 300,000 miles. They keep moving, right?
Yeah.
And I said Colston's like the Corvette, like he's brand new. I don't think that's disrespectful. He said, "Man, I'm a hater." He said Cole Kmet's more like a Hummer with a 4-cylinder and a 2. Like, wait, a Hummer? What?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Cole Kmet. To me, Cole Kmet, if you go at his legs, he's going down. It's just that simple. You go at his legs, he's going down. He's a big body, true enough. If he can get his shoulder into you, he can knock you down. But if you go for the legs, he's like a big lumberjack.
And that's fine. Chop him down. Hit him low.
Yeah, hit him low.
And I've always contested, for me, he reminds me of Mark Bavaro that used to play for the Giants way back in the day.
Another unique name.
Mark
Bavaro.
You just going to die on that hill, huh? And that's not a knock on him.
It's not.
Like, there's value in that type of play, right? But when we talk about what T and I were talking about, not really hearing his name, but hearing more of a kid that just kind of walked on and didn't do much because of injury, but was present. And they were like, oh, he's still catching the ball, judgment. He's still doing this. He lived. To have that type of commentary about the kid, I'm going to call him, versus the guy that's been there, is just kind of concerning. So do you feel that Cole Kmet could be the odd man out moving forward? Not saying this year.
I mean, if you study the NFL, you always study, like, more than likely when it comes down to the Cole Kmet, not Cole Kmet, if Colston Loveland does what Colston Loveland is capable of doing, he will end up eventually being the odd man out, because one, you got a rookie coming in on a rookie deal. Cole Kmet, I think you're paying him like maybe $10 million a year.
He's cap friendly this year.
Yeah, he's cap friendly this year. He's not dynamic. He's not like one of the top 5 tight ends in the league. Hell, some would even argue that he's a top 10 tight end in the league.
Top 10?
Yeah, some will argue that he is. Some will argue that he ain't. And, if Colston Loveland, like I always said, Colston Loveland has more wiggle to him. He seems like he's faster, more athletic, better route runner. I know there's a lot of people talking about that they don't believe that Colston Loveland can block. He actually can block. Is he the best blocker? No, he actually can block. You're not playing at the University of Michigan for Jim Harbaugh.
If you can't block, because that's like a prerequisite.
Yeah. And also, people got to remember, this was a kid that actually got legit playing time freshman year at Michigan. So,
well, let me chime in real quick. Just looking at the games I saw him play, we can get some Greg Olsen type of play out of this young man.
And that's not bad. Who wouldn't sign up for a Greg Olsen type player right now?
That's not bad at all.
Why are we even?
I'm hoping that's what the Bears saw too. Greg Olsen could do it all. He can catch, he can run, he can block. And that's what this young man can do too.
We hope. I'm a little more concerned because, like you stated,
he just got to put on some weight.
Well, no, because he's like 240.
He's
right?
like almost 250 something.
Yeah, 240. He's 240 something, right? But the injury. Now, I was concerned about the shoulder with all the blocking. Left shoulder, I thought it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
The injury that he's gotten now, are you concerned? Or do you think it's like almost like Luther Burden? Because remember, we were concerned about Luther Burden and rookie minicamp. It's like, he got a soft tissue injury already.
I'm not concerned. So does he have a new injury down?
No. So I'm just saying, like,
same injury.
Yes.
No, I'm not concerned about
because it's how long it's taking.
Yeah, and also people got to remember this kid. He was playing with the injury while he was at Michigan. They just decided once everything got settled down, hey, let's just shut him down. They really didn't have a chance to make it to the college football playoff.
Because he ended up having the surgery, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he ended up having the surgery. He was playing with it majority of the season, and people at the university and fans knew that he was injured, but he's still out there showing his toughness, showing his grit, even though, sad to say, he was the main target there because the wide receivers weren't that great as well. So
I thought we had a chance against y'all this year. But
and then, like I tell people all the time, everybody talk about Tyler Warren. This guy was a preseason first-team All-American. That just shows you.
Well, they're not the same because Tyler Warren, although they both were the focal points offensively, Tyler Warren, like he was throwing the ball, catching the ball, playing center and running. James Franklin was just doing anything to get that kid.
And their wide receivers weren't the best either.
No.
But at least they had a competent quarterback to throw on the ball.
I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that always helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
That always helps.
and segueing, speaking to that point to you about competent quarterback, depending on what reports you're listening to, some people say Caleb won and had a great OTA. Some people say they saw the struggles. There were some reports Ben Johnson had to, kind of dig in and get in his ass, right?
Yep, I saw those.
And a lot of those, like we were discussing, because we talked about it last year, coaching matters, but some of it was just him and his bad habits, which is harder to coach out because those same bad habits is what made him great.
Well, was the coaching,
on the college stage?
Yeah. Well, was the coaching trying to coach them bad habits out? That's the thing about it.
I think they were afraid to.
Yeah, I think they were too. And trust me, if Coach Johnson is getting in his ass, I'm all down for it. If he's out there messing up, good. That's what he's supposed to be doing. You learn a new offense. You're supposed to be getting cursed out, all in your face, telling you ain't doing this right. Constantly having the coach get on your nerves, because that's what this is for. You're learning a new system. They're trying to teach you out of some bad habits. Like I heard now, they got him. What I think he moves is it his left foot back?
Because he was this way first.
Yeah.
Now they want to go this way so he can pop.
Yeah, pop and get the ball out quicker.
So interesting thing about Ben Johnson, the guest that we had on tonight, he played on the same football team with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was a quarterback. Who knew? I didn't know that.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You
didn't know that Ben Johnson was a quarterback?
No, I didn't know he was a quarterback.
I didn't know that he played.
I knew Ben Johnson played quarterback.
Yeah.
I didn't know he played quarterback.
Right, because he looks like a fullback.
Yeah.
He looked like a fullback. He looked like he did nothing about no quarterback, but he played quarterback and he was on the team with Ben Johnson.
Very accomplished quarterback.
That was pretty cool.
Granville High School.
Yeah.
But just to have
I got a chance to meet him
when you came in. Good
came
brother.
in.
Good brother.
Yeah.
Cool dude.
Yeah.
Man.
I can't wait to see what he's gonna do with Chicago State.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be friends Sunday too.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be friends.
Definitely looking at it.
That's gonna be a lot of fun, man.
Let me bring something else to you guys' attention while we still talking about Bears. How do you all feel about that left tackle carousel that's going on right now? The competition, from what I'm being told, is wide open.
I love it.
I love it, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. And I think you might piggyback off me a little bit. I see the Ozzie praise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned about Kyron, because to me, Kyron should be the one to get that opportunity. And if Braxton Jones, under contract, he's contract year, if we made him the swing tackle, right, improve our depth. Kyron was a potential first-round pick. How do we keep forgetting that? It was just an injury that made him drop to the third round. All coming out of in the draft, he was projected pre-injury to be a late first rounder.
Yeah, early second. Right now, to me, it's just talk.
Mm-hmm.
We won't know until we get them pads on, because there's only so much that you can do as an offensive tackle with no pads on.
And you
playing in shorts. Yeah, there's only so much you can do. So once those pads get on, we'll be able to see if all the praise that they're giving Ozzie is good. We'll see if the praise or the improvements that they looking out for, or they're looking towards as far as with Karan to see if he does improve. One thing I've been hearing is that he's kind of late as far as with getting his foot back, off the snap. So we're gonna see all that come once training camp starts. And also, personally, I'm also very interested to see that you haven't heard much about because he hasn't been there. Is Dale?
Well, I mean,
it
is voluntary.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm actually interested to see him because even though it's voluntary, you have a lot of guys that came in.
A lot of guys, a lot of veterans did show up, which I would have expected a first timer.
Yeah. Especially when you're learning a new defense, And look, I'm not knocking Dale or Dio, whatever we call him, Dale. We're gonna call him Dale, his name Dio, whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's gonna be able to do. I mean, because one of the things that we keep hearing about is Trey Hendrickson, how much he's being disrespected over there in Cincinnati. Then you hear about with the young Cashamar Stewart, about
him going back to the draft.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see about that because I know a lot of Bears fans are talking about, let's go get Trey Henderson. Well, you just spent $15 million on it.
You can't go get Trey Henderson. Yeah. Like, what are you going to, unless you're trading? Maybe is that why Dale is not here because they're saying, hold on, kid, we might be trading you? Like,
I doubt it.
Because otherwise,
I don't even think that you can trade him without him even like playing it down when he just.
I don't know if somebody in the chat possibly knows what the sequencing is from that, but my thing is to get a Trey Hendrickson would be great.
If you have to give up
if you didn't already have somebody you just spent 15 point whatever $1 million on, right?
Yeah.
Because now, to your point, what you always say, now you're playing Madden.
Yeah.
Now you're just doing shit.
Doing it just to be doing it.
Just to be doing it. And it financially, fiscally doesn't make any sense because now not only do you because that, believe you me, Trey Henderson gonna start.
Oh, no doubt.
And that $16 million is gonna be your bench player.
Yeah, because he's not starting over Montez.
No, sir.
And he won't be starting on the inside as well.
And then your developmental players that you're trying to put something in, the Javon Dexter's who's lost weight and possibly looking at some DN. We talk about Austin Booker, 5th round pick.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing.
Those kids get pushed back.
If those guys don't get pressure, they should at least be able to put their hands up. I mean, when you look across the board, Montez Sweat, 6'6", Javon Dexter, 6'6", Austin Booker, 6'6", Deo, 6'7". Those are big, tall dudes.
Get your hands up.
Quarterbacks, because every quarterback is not 6'5", like a Josh Allen. Most guys are running between 6'1", 6'3", 6'4".
In our division, I want to say is Jared Goff the tallest. At 6'3", right?
He might
6'3", 6'4".
No, I think JJ
is listed 6'2", I thought, right? JJ 6'2", Kyle Love.
I think he may be like 6'4".
Oh, JJ's taller.
Yeah,
okay.
I think he's tall like that. Yeah, he's just lanky.
He's lanky. But still get them arms up. We can't get pressure because, I mean,
a lot of bad balls.
I'll take it. Anything to get us off the field.
Yeah.
And then
don't even mention that your linebacker is 6'5" too.
Well, that's another story. Yeah. Like, what is Dennis Allen and his OTAs? What have they looked like? There's been so much talk about the run game, the tight end game, the wide receiver game, and Caleb. I haven't really heard anything bad about what's going on defensively, but I also haven't heard anything outstanding either.
No. I mean, it's early. We can't wait to see them pass.
I mean, it's always going to be too early prediction-wise now, but that's all we got.
A question for you guys. Are we going down there to training camp?
Oh,
that's a great question.
I want to badly.
I do too.
That's a great question.
At least like a Tuesday or something, one day and try to.
Maybe. Yeah.
Let's see if we can put that out there.
So I was going to talk about real quick. I'm giving away my tickets. I'm giving away a preseason game. I haven't decided which game I'm going to give away yet. They have two preseason games in Chicago. So in week 1, they played Miami at Soldier Field, 12 o'clock. And that's on August 10th. I might give that one up. It's 2 seats, 2 tickets in the club level. And on week 2 of the preseason, which is August 17th, they play Buffalo at 7 o'clock p.m. on a Sunday. Might give that one up. I'm not sure which one you think I should give up. The afternoon game or the night game.
What days are they? Oh,
both of them
Should
are
be Saturday.
Sundays.
Both of them are Sundays?
Both of them are Sundays. Usually Sunday night. I'm getting ready to go to bed.
I was going to say the Sunday night one against Buffalo. I mean, you're not going to see Josh Allen anyway, but for like a couple plays. And the first game, I don't really care about seeing Tua.
I say probably the first one. You want to least, if you're gonna go least, see somebody, because you know more than likely that you ain't gonna see Josh Allen at all.
So you think the Miami
give
game?
Give them a little bang for their buck.
Give them a little bang for their buck.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna give away the week 2 football game against Buffalo, where you all might see Josh Allen, you might see Caleb Williams. Hell, you might even see some of the other starters. So that's the game I'm going to give away. And this is how you have to win the tickets. Every episode, up until, what date is that? The game is on August 17th. So every single Chicago Clubhouse podcast episode, up until up until August 11th, I'm going to give you a code word. And then all of them put together will be a sentence. And you got to give me that sentence. And I'm going to check if your name is on the subscriber list. If your name is on the subscriber list, you give me that sentence, I give you the tickets. I send them right to your phone. You know, they have the electronic thing now, so I can send them directly to your phone. And that's exactly what I will do. All you have to do is be a subscriber and give me that sentence. Okay? And that is going to be on August 11th. You'll give me that sentence. So I'll give you the whole sentence. The whole sentence will be done by I'm giving the wrong dates. My fault. August 5th will be the last word of the sentence.
That'll be the Tuesday after the Miami game.
Right. And then August 12th, you give me the sentence, I shoot you the tickets. That simple. Okay, y'all not eligible. y'all not eligible for it. But everybody else in the chat, I say one more again. So it is the Buffalo game that is on Sunday, August 17th at 7 o'clock. These are club level seats. If it gets too cold or whatever, you go inside. You can watch it on TV. You can sit down in the couches. You can get a Jameson and Coke or whatever the hell you drink. And you don't have to go outside. You can stay inside and watch the game. But this game is against Buffalo, Soldier Field, Sunday night, 7 o'clock. I will give you the last word of the sentence on August 5th. That episode of the podcast on Tuesday, August 5th. I will give you the last word of the sentence. So from here on, every episode, I will give you a word that creates a sentence. You give me that sentence, and I see that you're a subscriber to the podcast, I shoot you the tickets. It's that simple. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. That's how it's going down. If they get the tickets, then maybe they'll give you the other one. Y'all go together. I don't care. I don't care what you do. I don't give a shit what you do.
They don't care if they stand out and scalp them.
Oh no, I don't care. Once you get the tickets, you can flush them in the toilet if you want. I don't give a shit. But that's what you have to do to get them. Okay, and I will be putting that on the group page just in case you forget. So if you are in the group, guess what you have to do? Join the group so you can get those messages. All right, I'm done with that. So I think now we might as well go into shout outs and go home. Hit that music, Commish. Wow.
All right. So first of all, I want to looking forward to seeing the Chicago State Cougars play football. I think they said in the fall of 2026.
2026,
right? So can't wait to see that. Good brother. I was listening in on the podcast. Didn't really get a chance to talk to him while on here, but I did meet him outside. Real good brother. Shout out to you fellas, JB, T Nick, my boy Frank the Tank ain't here. That's some family things. The super producer in the back, the Crooked Commish. Also want to give a shout out to the chat. Chat was lit as always. Also, big shout out to everyone that is a subscriber. We reached our goal of 1,300 subscribers. That we were looking to do that before the end of the year. So we got 1,300 subscribers. Thank you all for tuning in to the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, where we think we know everything, but we really don't know. Shiznit. Yes. Also remember that to like and subscribe to the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. We always got fire-ass guests coming on, and they bring it. They always say they're going to stay a certain time and always end up staying over. Like I said, it's like barbershop talk here when you come on to the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. Also remember that some nights, hey, we have fan appreciation. We love seeing you guys in the chat, but most importantly, we love being able to put a face behind that keyboard. So some nights we'll put inside the chat, send a link for you guys to join us. So please do that when we finally get back to doing that. Also remember, you can catch the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, a little something almost every day this week or every day during the week. I can't go back through everything because a couple things have been changing on the podcast, so on the network. So, once we get everything settled, I will get back to that. I also want to give a shout out to the kiddies. They out of town. Give a shout out to them. Praying that they're okay and enjoying themselves. Shout out to my baby boy Ricky, who's actually in the building today.
Oh, he's here?
Yeah, I got him here. Yeah, he's back there.
Oh, little Ricky!
Yeah, I got him here. He back there with the wife, Mrs. Edgerton. Shout out to her, love of my life. And,
Ricky! Yeah, that's what's up. Man. Congratulations again,
Thank you.
brother. Shout out to you too. My Tuesdays are very important to me. The camaraderie, the brotherhood, what we got going on just means so much. And to have a guy like Coach Sims on to be so open and personable with us, he could have declined. He could have chosen any other outlet, but he felt as good about us as we felt about him. So shout out to that brother. We appreciate him, and I know he'll be back.
Coach Rome.
He'll be back. Coach Rome will be back. Coach Rome will definitely be back.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
The chat, yeah. The chat was doing what the chat should do. I'm gonna try to go through it. It's hard when that laptop's not in front of me, but shout out very first one, Lee Ainsworth, of course, Crooked Commish, Janet Dominguez, Melissa Shoup. Thank you all for chiming in. We appreciate the love. Shiny C was on fire today. Rocket Dream. I believe Rocket Dream is new. Thank you for chiming in, Rocket Dream. We appreciate the love. Brian Price, I believe that's a new one as well. Thank you for chiming in, Brian. Frank O'Dowd chimed in. Bears Down chimed in. My man TTNL Runaway. Always love when he chimed in. We got to get TTNL on. You know what I'm I'm saying? Like he just comes with the one-liners and everything. Team Logan and Leah, thank you all for chiming in. We appreciate it. Shout out to Frank the Tank, if you could chime in. How did Logan do tonight? Because I know Logan had a game. So hopefully Logan pitched and beat the number one team in their conference the other day. So hopefully Logan chimes in and with some good reports.
Right.
You know. And then shout out to anybody else that was in the chat that were, didn't decide to look, but I saw the views were kind of up, but I appreciate you guys. Shout out to SB and company. Shout out to any family that I know I have watching. Shout out to Jordan, because I know he's watching. He told me, Daddy, I'm watching the show. And shout out to, if anybody is watching, we know we got one person, the podcast mom, Sandra Bonham Holmes.
All right, so I guess it's on me. Well, first shout out definitely to the coach. Coach Bobby Rome, he has a task in front of him. Like I was telling him earlier, Chicago is tough. It is a tough, it's not a football city, but we do watch football, and it's tough. We're tough on football teams, and we're big on defense, and we're big on winning. So you gotta come out the gate making some kind of noise, or we're not gonna pay you any attention. And that's just how it is. You got and they're starting out in a big division,
the Northeastern Conference,
D1.
Yeah, championships.
Yeah, so they're coming out. They got to perform, and wow, he has a gargantuan task ahead of him. But like I said, we're gonna help him any way we can. We just small potatoes, but whatever we can do, we'll do. But we're not small potatoes. I take that back. We're not small potatoes. Hey, we are somebody. God damn it.
Coach Rome sees it. That's why he was here.
Exactly. Coach Rome and all the other people that come on the podcast, they see that we aren't really small potatoes. So we're kind of a big deal. Yeah, let me say that in the camera. We're kind of a big deal. So you might want to mess with us. Okay. I got my pretty face on too. Okay. All right. So I also want to shout out my guys. There would not be no show if it wasn't for these dudes. And then Frank the Tank, who is not here, Crooked Commish, who's in the back, who learned how to produce like that. Now he's like a master producer. Lola, who puts everything together for the guests. It would not be no show without all of these people. So it's not just me, man. And nobody wants to listen to me for an hour, 2 hours anyway. Plus, I don't have that much to say. I do want to shout out, I told you all about my dog. And my doggy died. She had surgery. She was fighting to stay alive, but she didn't make it. So I'm shouting out to her. Hopefully she can hear me. I love you, doggy.
Fur babies matter.
Macy, that was her name. Macy.
All dogs go to hell.
Yep, I hope so. JJ, what up, JJ? Also, I want to shout out Moore's Beer. They're having a Emancipation Ball on Juneteenth, which is next
Thursday.
Wednesday.
No, this Thursday.
This Thursday. Okay, yeah. So the party is Wednesday, I believe.
Like tomorrow, Wednesday? Today's the 17th.
No, so it's Thursday. It's Thursday.
Yeah, Juneteenth is actually Thursday.
Yeah, they're having an Emancipation Ball on Thursday. If you can make it out to that, I'm not sure how much tickets are because I'm not going. But I've been to the last couple. It's always a good time. Good beer, good food, good people. So if you can, check it out. And I also want to shout out last but not least. Well, not last, but the chat. Everybody in the chat. I'm not going to go through each name. We appreciate you all for watching. However, if you did not comment, you did not say anything, you are officially a lurker.
L for love. Good times.
But we appreciate you for watching anyway. And maybe you'll feel next time, maybe you'll feel so moved to say something, and we know that you're here and we'll shout you out. Well, JB will shout you out since he shouts out everybody in the chat.
Including Chicago News Weekly.
Chicago News Weekly. So I wanted to say that is our sponsor, and I want to shout them out. They are the voice of Black Chicago. Tap in with the latest issue every week at www.cnwmedia.com and follow them on social for real-time updates and executive stories you won't find anywhere else. So make sure you tune in. You get your ear to the pavement. You find out what's going on in the hood, man. And they're really good for that. So stay in tune. And if you're really ready to elevate your game, don't wait. Subscribe to the Stay Ready Playbook and keep one step ahead. Keep one step ahead. Chicago News Weekly, they'll get you right. And thank you for being a sponsor. That's why we're in this wonderful studio instead of sitting at the crib. So thank you all. Thank you all. Appreciate you all. And that is my last shout out. So guess what? For T Nick, your quarterback, point guard, whatever you want to call me. That's my man, JB, Stat Man. And that's my man, Foul Mouth C. Foulest mouth in the city. And we out.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
Bye, Mexico. This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
For yo.
Go home.
You got.
You're still here. It's over.